I'm here with the head of Fred Astaire Dance Studios, Mr. Jack Rothweiler. First of all, welcome to our show. It's wonderful that you can be here.
I'm glad to be here, and I thank you for inviting me.
You're welcome. Obviously, you are the president and CEO of Fred Astaire Dance Studios today, but I guess that's not how you got started in the business. How did you get started?
So far removed from the position I'm in now, it's mind-boggling. I started in 1963 in wanting to just take a few lessons so I can go out and dance instead of... I was always into sports, basketball, football, baseball. So when I went to social activities, all I did was to stand around. So I took a few lessons from a friend of mine who had a studio, Fred Astaire studio. And then the more I was involved in it, I felt myself getting better. But what really took me back in the beginning, Eric, was the name. In other words, the power that people had when they talked about Fred Astaire. And I began to see that it was an opportunity for me to be able to have a career through it, which I never thought before. At the time I was working in factories. I grew up in Philadelphia. I was working in factories. And I never really saw myself anything beyond doing that. And then all of a sudden, I'm in this wonderful profession that everybody was talking about in terms of the man, Fred Astaire himself. So it was an involvement from one stage to another, and here I am today.
Wow. Well, that's over a long period of time. That's 44 years.
Yes.
That's a very long time. Well, since you have been with Fred Astaire for so long, what actually kept you there?
Well, it's a business that I always say to myself at the end of each year, every year, even last year, I look back on what I learned that year and say to myself, how did I survive the year, that year in comparison to it? So it's a business that evolves. It's challenging. It covers marketing. It covers teaching. There are so many challenges and that the business faces on a regular basis. And it was neat for me to be able to see of how the organization has met every one of those challenges. And there have been big changes within us. We've started a particular method of teaching that no other organization has in the world. Everybody has a curriculum, but the method how we teach that is unique to Fred Astaire. It's called the conceptual method of teaching. We have added marketing programs, demographic programs, just all kinds of things that were bits and parts of making me stay here for a long period of time.
Well, that's obviously one thing that is a very important thing. Since you've been with Fred Astaire for so long, what are the main changes that you've actually seen in the industry over the years?
Well, the attitude with people that are coming in taking lessons, and really the attitude with staff. Prior to, say, the last 10 years, staff members would come in just wanting to come in to take some lessons, to teach for a period of time, and then go about trying to find what they would call a real job. But since that period of time, sort of similar to my evolution, people are coming into it more as a career. So that's been a refreshing aspect of the business. And the same thing with students. Students are now coming in really wanting to learn to be better dancers, not just to be able just to get by socially. There's still a lot of people socially, but other people have seen shows like Dancing with the Stars and movies like Shall We Dance, and everything that's now revolving around dancing. They have a different attitude coming in. So those two aspects have changed dramatically.
Well, so now you mentioned Dancing with the Stars. There's no way we can do a show without talking about Dancing with the Stars these days, right? Does Fred Astaire actually have anything to do with it? I mean, it's a very big show.
Well, as you know, maybe the general public doesn't know, it really came from overseas. It started over in England and then was brought here by several people. No, we weren't involved in it in the beginning, but starting the second year, we got very much involved in it from an outside standpoint. Tony Davolani, who's one of the main pros on it, who danced with Stacy Keebler this second year, and then Linda Evans, or Sarah Evans, I keep getting those names mixed up, the second year. He's a mainstay from Fred Astaire. He and his partner Lena, who's also a dancer from last year, are United States champion, also a Fred Astaire champion. And then Jesse DeSoto got involved in it last year, and he's also a well-known competitor on the circuit around the United States, and he's also our national champion as well. And the second year, we fortunately for us, we sponsored all the shoes. So all the shoes that you saw the people dancing in, whether it was the men, the pros, or the pro-am part of it, all had our shoes.
Wow.
Which was neat.
Mm-hmm. Would you actually find that the show has had a big effect on business?
It's had a profound effect on it.
Mm-hmm.
And if you go back to years ago when Saturday Night Fever came out, that really had a big effect on the business as well. Except that it was really more geared towards people that were from the ages of 18 maybe to 22. Dancing with the Stars has changed all the demographics. There are couples, younger people between the ages of 20 and 35, professional couples, people that are being that are just getting ready to be married, elderly people. Everything is now more acceptable for people in general in terms of taking lessons, and the show has had that impact on everybody.
Mm-hmm. Wow. Well, obviously we've all heard the expression that, I can't learn how to dance, I have two left feet. Yeah. How does it actually work when you come into a studio?
Well, I'll give you a better one. It's not that I have two left feet. It's like, either you have it or you don't have it.
Mm-hmm.
And people always think that everybody who dances and dances well is a natural dancer. Well, that's not true. I mean, everybody has it. They just haven't been trained to do it. So when people come in, they really do get started. First of all, they come in on an introductory offer, mm-hmm. to where they can see that the time that they spend and maybe the investment they put into it will be worthwhile. So 3 lessons, maybe 10, 15 hours, 25 hours, depending on the particular area. And then from there, they go into basic lessons, to where they really have a general idea and a good awareness of how each dance steps are put together.
Mm-hmm.
And then people want to go beyond that. They can get into what we call social dancing, where they learn more of the timing and the leading and following and the footwork and so on and so forth. So everybody can dance.
Mm-hmm.
Just that it's the progression of the stages they go through, similar to golf or tennis or anything else that people do on a physical basis.
Mm-hmm.
So dispel that one.
Okay. That's good. Well, obviously you're bringing up other, like golf or tennis or something like that. Are there any specific benefits to ballroom dancing?
Well, there's more than people realize, because the first thing you see when you see people dance is they're moving around physically. But people become more confident through it, become more expressive. It's a challenging activity. It's an unbelievable recreation in terms of being physically fit. There's a big study right now that people that have had heart attacks, if they're involved in something aerobic like dancing right afterwards, that they heal on a much faster basis. Mm-hmm. There's social activities that people get involved in, where they can meet friends. There's traveling that's involved in it. There's a numerous number of benefits that people can gain from lessons themselves.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, obviously there are lots of dance studios out there. Is there anything unique about Fred Astaire's?
Beside Fred Astaire?
Right.
I mean, that's obviously the beginning part of it. There has never been anybody like Fred Astaire. In fact, I was just thinking about it the other day, the number of movies that he put on.
Right.
The number of Broadway plays that he was involved in, the number of songs. I mean, when you compare that to today's actors that we know, or actresses that we know, there is no comparison. He far outstripped them all. So everything that we have done in terms of the way that we operate our business is unique in keeping that kind of style or that kind of class or that kind of professionalism. As I mentioned earlier, we have a unique way of teaching our professionals how to become better teachers so that the students get more out of their lessons faster. There's a development program in terms of their skills if they choose to go on to be managers or owners. There's traveling activities that people can partake in. It's just there's a uniqueness unbeknown to the average person that's associated with the name Fred Astaire. Mm-hmm. Again, because as I said, because of the man himself.
Mm. Wow. Well, you certainly represent him well, and thank you so much for being here and taking part in the show. We really appreciate it. And
I do have to say something to you. As we often talked about, here we are doing an interview together, right. 7 years later, but just for everybody's general knowledge, Eric was over in Germany. I went over to meet him and his wife. They were independent dancers. They wanted to have a better career and a better life for themselves. I talked to them about the Fred Astaire Studios, and here we are 8 years later. They are a model. They run a model studio. They're a model of excellence in terms of operating their business, good role models for their staff and everything else. And who would have known that this would be happening right now? So I thank you.
Oh, yeah, it's pretty amazing, isn't it? Thank you so much.